What's up, guys? I'm Josh Pate. That's Steve Wiltfong. It is the weekly Wiltfong recruiting whip around. Steve, we haven't talked in over a week now, so I missed you, first off. But secondly, while I've been down in Georgia, I've watched your Twitter feed and I've watched your stories on 247sports.com, and you're talking about running back dominoes falling one after the other. And so now people are asking, okay, what about this guy? What about that guy? And a lot of folks want to know about Nicholas Singleton. That's the next name we're focused on. So reset the picture for me, and what's the latest with Mr. Singleton?
Well, setting the stage, Gavin Sawchuk, the number 2 running back in the 24/7 Sports Composite, he commits to Oklahoma over the weekend. The Sooners go from number 10 to number 5 in our team rankings. He adds to a class that also has explosive all-purpose back Raleek Brown. So DeMarco Murray and the Sooners, they're set. They're exciting in the backfield with 2 of the fastest, more exciting guys in America. Oklahoma topped the Big 12 standings. So that goes back to Nicholas Singleton here. He takes an official visit to Notre Dame last weekend. A lot of smoke coming out of that visit, talking to Nick, talking to his family, that Notre Dame moves into the driver's seat. Gavin Sawchuk at that point was set to take an official visit to Notre Dame that next weekend. Dallin Hayden had Notre Dame in his top 2 alongside Ohio State. Dallin Hayden pops for Ohio State. Gavin Sawchuk pops for Oklahoma, no longer visiting Notre Dame this weekend. I think that kind of cools the nerves for Nicholas Singleton, that like, if I love Notre Dame, could I lose my spot? No, I'm not going to lose my spot now. So I can continue to go through my process, which is visiting Texas A&M, where he's at right now. As we speak, it's 8:43 in College Station. So no doubt he's eating a lavish breakfast, because on official visits, you eat more than anything. And then he's going to go to Alabama this weekend. And Penn State 2 weeks ago, there was a lot of smoke coming out of that weekend that Penn State was in the driver's seat. So I think that Nick's family's having him slow it down, digest everything, and relook at everything now, because I think the pressure's off for him, that he thinks he needs to come in and gobble up a spot at Notre Dame. He's certainly a top target for Penn State and company. And coming out of that visit to Notre Dame, they certainly circled back on Nicholas Singleton and reminded him of that. So I think those 2 schools are in the best spot for him going into these SEC trips. There's another running back that we need to talk about, Josh. Marion Hampton, the top 247 running back from North Carolina. He took an official to Penn State last weekend. He could end up in the Nittany Lions class. He's going to decide soon. Now, the crystal ball's out of North Carolina. I expect Hampton to decide soon between the 2. At the very least, Penn State gave him a lot to think about on his visit. Now it's, do I want to go away and play for a program that's produced Saquon Barkley and those guys, or stay home? North Carolina's had a big draft with their backfield and their programs on the uptick. So I think he's pinging back and forth on that, but I think he's going to come off the board soon. And then you have Penn State's also in the mix for Ramon Brown. And so their running back recruiting is certainly not hurting. Katron Allen, they're bringing in Damari Alston this week, who I love LSU for. But Nicholas Singleton, Notre Dame or Penn State. I liked Notre Dame at the start of the week. I think he slung it down a little bit, which could allow Penn State to circle back and maybe reclaim the momentum at some point.
Flip over to defense. Another popular name we're seeing in the comment section, Steve, is 5-star corner Denver Harris. I'm partial to the geographical first name. So what's the latest on Denver?
Well, that's better than 2 first names, or 2 first names as a name, right?
True, yes.
Geographical. But the 5-star corner, number 6 player overall in the country for the 24/7 Sports Composite, coming off a really good official visit to Texas, which included the hard hat tour of the new facilities. His mom was so excited about that. She told me that they will be coming back to check it out when it's all done, which is targeted around August. I think that they really like the coaching staff over there at Texas and the vision for the program. And he's not expected to make a decision until September. So Texas still has, that fits in the time frame of getting back there and seeing the facilities and all that. He's going to Alabama this week. Alabama requested the last official visit of the month. They got it. Mom has gushed about Nick Saban in the past. It's just how all recruits do. Alabama's the way they've developed defensive backs, the amount of the touch that Nick Saban personally puts on defensive backs. I kind of like where Alabama sits for Denver Harris. Now, I'm not sleeping on Texas. I think Texas is very much in that one. But I've just kind of liked where Alabama sat in this one since talking to Denver's mom going back to the spring. And so they're not going to blow this visit. This is going to be a good visit. And so it'll be interesting to see where things stand coming out. Again, I'm not expecting a decision until September. I just think Alabama is in an exciting position for Denver. And I think for Texas, it's about showing Denver that he can achieve everything he's looking to achieve on the next level at Texas, because going into Alabama, they already know that, and they haven't even had the official, which is going to emphasize all of that.
So, Steve, we look ahead down the road and actual football that's going to happen on the field this year, Georgia versus Clemson, week 1. Yet you and I are sitting here talking weekly now about Georgia versus Clemson on the recruiting trail. So if anyone wants a preview of how heated this thing could be on the field this fall, give people a little peek behind the curtain as to what's happening between these two programs on the trail right now.
And kudos to you for nailing the spread on late kick, much to the chagrin of Georgia Bulldog listeners. I'm going to give the Georgia Bulldog listeners a little more take that they want to hear on whip around than what they got on late kick, even though you weren't predicting the winner. You were just predicting the spread. And people took that as you were predicting Clemson to win the game, and that's not what you were doing. You saved that for later. But Georgia, they're 2-0 against Clemson right now on the trail. Malachi Starks, they keep him home. The 5-star explosive safety linebacker. I don't know what he is. He's just a great football player, tremendous athlete, going to be an outstanding leader for Georgia. They beat Clemson for him, and then they beat Clemson for Jalen Walker, the ferocious linebacker from the state of North Carolina, who I think both those guys, in addition to being outstanding football players, are 2-year captain type guys. I mean, just they check every box, and those are 2 pivotal pickups for Kirby Smart and company for their culture, in addition to what they bring to you on the football field. But these 2 teams are battling for some elite guys here going into the summer. Branson Robinson, running back from Mississippi, visited Georgia the first week, then Clemson the second week. I like where Georgia stands there. Dalen Everett is a cornerback from IMG Academy from Virginia. Going into the summer, probably gave Clemson the edge there. I think Georgia, at the very least, gave him a lot to think about on his most recent visit. North Carolina, the 3rd school in there. Keon Sabb, my crystal ball's on Clemson for him now, but it's low confidence. He went to Clemson first, then went to Georgia last weekend. Thought he had a great visit at Georgia, and Georgia made a move with him as well. Sabb's at Michigan now, and then going to Texas A&M to end his weekend. Jihad Campbell is a coveted edge rusher by both schools. There was a ton of Clemson smoke around Jihad Campbell. I think there was a lot of Clemson smoke around Jihad Campbell. I think Georgia's made that one interesting. The Travis Shaw is one where the crystal ball says Clemson, but I actually like Georgia and North Carolina's position better. So I need to walk back what I said on Whip Around last week. My intel was not right on Travis Shaw. I said to you, gun to head, I would pick Clemson. Talking to some people after that wasn't right. I think Georgia, or at least what I'm hearing, isn't right. Who knows? It's recruiting. But I now talk to you a week later. I think that Georgia and North Carolina are in the best spot for Travis Shaw. He's visiting North Carolina this week, coming off a great visit to Georgia. But Georgia and Clemson going toe-to-toe for a lot of guys on the trail here before they lock horns on the field in week 1.
The situation, as they say, is fluid, which means you got to check out Whip Around every week. You can also check out 247sports.com every second of every minute of every day for the very latest. He's Steve Wiltfong. I'm Josh Pate. We'll see you next week.